What's happening, guys? My name is Adam, aka Speedy Spectrum, and in this video, I am going to share with you 50 facts about Pokémon Fire Red and Leaf Green, as well as their inspirations, Pokémon Red, Blue, and Yellow. So, let's get started. Number 1. The cities and towns in Kanto are named after colors. For example, Cerulean is a shade of blue, Celadon is a shade of green, and Lavender is a shade of light purple. The exception to this rule is the starting location of Pallet Town, which can be used to describe a multitude of colors. Number 2. Each game has its own exclusive Pokémon, but Leaf Green has more at 24, whereas Fire Red has 23. Number 3. In the Pewter City Museum on the second floor, you can talk to an old man and he will mention a date, July 20th, 1969. For any of you history buffs out there, this is a reference to the real-life moon landing of Apollo 11. Number 4. The program playing on the TV in your house changes depending on what gender your character is. If you are playing as a boy, it mentions 4 boys playing on a railroad track. This is a reference to the 1986 film Stand By Me. However, if your character is a girl, the TV will instead mention a girl in pigtails walking down a yellow brick road, an obvious reference to the 1939 classic The Wizard of Oz. Number 5. If you own a pirated copy of the game, there's an unusual piece of dialogue you can find in Vermilion City. If you talk to the captain standing at the SSN port, he will say, "By the way, if you like this game, buy it or die." Way to stir up the nightmare fuel, Nintendo. Number 6. Fans of the original games remember a truck on an island south of where the SSN was. There were many rumors stating that a Pokeball containing the legendary Pokemon Mew could be found there. The rumors were ultimately false, but the truck can still be found in the remake, where you can find a lava cookie. Number 7. There was a rumor that the music that plays during Lavender Town once caused people extreme headaches, and in some cases, death. Number 8. On Route 3, there's a trainer who says, "I like shorts. They're comfy and easy to wear." This line would appear in every subsequent mainstream Pokemon game, albeit with some variation. Number 9. There's a trainer in the rock tunnel who says, "Hit me with your best shot." When he's defeated, he says, "Fire away." This is a reference to the song "Hit Me With Your Best Shot" by Pat Benatar. Number 10. According to the game's developer and composer Junichi Masuda, Leaf Green was not retitled to match Pokémon Blue internationally because they believed a leaf was the symbol of peace, whereas fire and water are opposing forces, which would have made it seem more like a conflict. Number 11. Physical copies of the game included a Game Boy Advance wireless adapter, which allowed players to trade Pokémon without a link cable. Number 12. The Leaf Green Pokédex entries are the same as those in the original Pokémon Red and Blue. The Fire Red Pokédex entries were the same as the Japanese versions of Pokémon Red and Green, making it the first time the original entries were translated into English. Number 13. Along with the original Generation 1 games, Fire Red and Leaf Green are the only core series games that don't involve a legendary Pokémon in the main plot. Number 14. Fire Red and Leaf Green are the last core series games that have no time-based features. Number 15. Outside of trading or special events, Wynot is the only Generation 3 Pokémon that can be obtained in Fire Red. Number 16. If you look at the pattern bush area of Six Island closely, you will see the grass actually resembles a circuit board. Number 17. Within the first week of their release, Fire Red and Leaf Green sold around 900,000 copies in Japan and nearly sold out, selling out 95.6% of their stock. Number 18. In Fire Red and Leaf Green, Moltres is encountered on Mount Ember, whereas in Pokémon Red, Blue, and Yellow, it resides in Victory Road. Number 19. The main reason behind the need for a remake of Pokémon Red, Blue, and Yellow was the incompatibility between the Game Boy Color and the Game Boy Advance hardware, which given the lack of Pokémon Ruby and Sapphire would otherwise prevent the completion of the National Pokédex. Number 20. When fighting Bugcatcher Colton on Route 3, he tells you, "I saw you in Viridian Forest," and "You beat me again." However, there is no Bugcatcher named Colton in Viridian Forest. Number 21. In the original Pokémon Red, Blue, Green, and Yellow versions, there is a gaming console in your room, and when you inspect it, it's revealed to be a Super Nintendo, or a Super Famicom if you're playing the Japanese version. In Fire Red and Leaf Green, however, this has been changed so that you instead have an NES, or a Famicom in the Japanese version. Interestingly enough, though, the NES was not an active console at the time of the release of Pokémon Red, Blue, Green, and Yellow. Number 22. The record mixing room found in Pokémon Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald is programmed into Fire Red and Leaf Green, but it is never used and is inaccessible without hacking. Number 23. Pokémon Fire Red and Leaf Green's Japanese version has all text in black, while localizations would have black text for signs and the like, and blue text when spoken by males, and red text when spoken by females. Number 24. Fire Red and Leaf Green, along with many other Pokémon games, were localized into English by a freelancer named Nob Ogasawara. As a tribute to him, certain trainers from Generation 2 to Generation 3 were given the name Nob. Number 25. The Sevi Islands are based on the real-life Ogasawara Islands off the coast of Japan, named after Nob's ancestors who claim to be the first Japanese people to have ever stepped foot on them. Number 26. The Ogasawara Islands were never geographically connected to the Japanese mainland, resulting in plant and animal species not being found anywhere else on the area. This reflects the game as you can only encounter Johto Pokémon on the Sevi Islands. Number 27. Certain islands in the Sevi Island archipelago represent specific Ogasawara Islands. For example, Birth Island, where you encounter the legendary Pokémon Deoxys, is based on Minami Torishima. Number 28. There are over 30 Ogasawara Islands, and the game's internal data show many more Sevi Islands that didn't make it into the final product, including names and some beta maps. Number 29. Some of the Sevi Islands are based on the Izu Islands, which is a volcanic archipelago. It served as the inspiration for Mount Ember and Naval Rock. Number 30. Aside from its 3 Kanto evolutions, Eevee can also evolve into Espeon and Umbreon, which evolve during the day and the night respectively. However, since time features don't exist in Fire Red and Leaf Green, the only way you can get them is by trading. Number 31. The 2 passwords needed to unlock the Rocket Warehouse are both palindromes: Goldeen need log and yes nah Chansey. Number 32. According to one of the NPCs on 4 Island, Lorelei has an apparent love for Pokémon dolls. For every 25 times the player enters the Hall of Fame, she will add a new doll to her collection. The maximum number of dolls she can add is 8, meaning you have to enter the Hall of Fame 175 times to see the full set. Number 33. Gengar is the favorite Pokémon of Ken Sugimori, one of the franchise's main artists. Series creator Satoshi Tajiri's favorite Pokémon are Poliwag and Poliwhirl. Future game director and composer Junichi Masuda's favorite Pokémon is Psyduck. Number 34. The development of the original Pokémon Red and Green versions was notoriously rough due to Game Freak being a somewhat small firm at the time with little experience in Game Boy development, and absolutely no experience with making a game as unique as Pokémon. This is why the Generation 1 games are so poorly coded compared to their successors, as well as why a lot of gaps and glitches exist in the game's balancing. Number 35. Professor Oak is programmed into the game as a trainer and has a full team, although the battle with him cannot be accessed without glitches. It consists of 5 Pokémon that are even higher level than Blue's team, capping out with the level 70 Gyarados. One of his Pokémon is a fully evolved starter, implying he would have used whichever one was left over from the beginning of the game. Professor Oak may have originally been intended to serve as the true final boss. Number 36. Dragon-type moves deal super effective damage against Dragon-type Pokémon. However, this behavior never actually occurs in Pokémon Red, Blue, and Yellow, because the only Dragon-type move that existed at that point was Dragon Rage, an attack which always deals 40 damage and ignores any type effectiveness. Number 37. Game Freak originally did not plan to have any player versus player functionality in Pokémon, just trading, but Nintendo requested that it be added. Number 38. Pokémon Red and Blue single-handedly reinvigorated sales for the aging Game Boy, which ended up getting an upgraded version 1 month after the North American release of the games, the Game Boy Color. Number 39. Pokémon Red and Blue were not released in South Korea due to the ban on most Japanese cultural products still being in place until 1998. Number 40. The model of the space shuttle in the Pewter City Museum is no longer referred to as the Columbia anymore in non-Japanese versions of the game, most likely in response to the destruction of that particular space shuttle in the year prior to the remake's release. Number 41. Kanto is modeled and named after the real-life Kanto region of Japan, which includes, amongst other cities, the capital Tokyo, where Game Freak is headquartered. Number 42. Kanto is the only region that shares its name with a real-world location. All other regions to date do not. Number 43. In Pokémon Red, Blue, and Yellow, focus energy was intended to make critical hits more common, allowing the attacker to dole out even more damage against an opponent. However, due to a glitch, the move doesn't work properly, and instead virtually eliminates the possibility of scoring a critical hit. Thankfully, this would be fixed in future games. Number 44. In Generation 1, critical hits were determined by how fast a Pokémon was. Pokémon with higher speed were in fact more likely to land critical hits, and vice versa. Number 45. There were originally going to be 190 Pokémon in Red, Blue, and Yellow. The 39 remaining Pokémon, as well as an additional 66 Pokémon, were ultimately added to Gold, Silver, and Crystal. Number 46. A girl outside of the rock tunnel in Red, Blue, and Yellow makes a statement about a Pokémon that is pink with a floral pattern. This is possibly a reference to the Pokémon Muna, which would debut in Generation 5. Number 47. According to director Junichi Masuda, Pokémon almost did not come to fruition due to hardware malfunctions with, at the time, less reliable technology. Number 48. According to Ken Sugimori, the primary designer for the Pokémon games, Rhydon was the first Pokémon ever created. Some of the other early designs were Lapras and Clefairy. Number 49. In the original Pokémon Red and Blue games, it was possible to fish for Pokémon inside the many Rhydon statues that Pokémon gyms were adorned with. Using an old rod on any Rhydon statue would cause the player to encounter a Magikarp. This would be fixed in Pokémon Yellow. Number 50. Mankey and Meowth, originally version-exclusive Pokémon, are available in both Fire Red and Leaf Green, while Psyduck, Shelder, Slowpoke, and Staryu have become version exclusives. Alright, that is it for our 50 facts. Stay tuned for my next project. See you guys next time!